Hey, it's Kai Jai, aka Kai Sure Shot, and welcome to Views from the Kai. Welcome to the very first episode of Views from the Kai, and today we're going to be talking about the top 10 games of this decade. Man, what can I say about 2010? 2010 was a very weird year. High school was filled with pop collars, girls, footy, the works. But only one game can truly call itself the king of the year.
Mass Effect 2 was my game of 2010 because it was the perfect sequel. In a time when movies and TV shows were obsessed with comebacks and continuations, like Iron Man 2, Finding Dory, and Toy Story 3, Marvel was leading the game in continuity when BioWare basically said, "Hold my beer," and made this sequel to their first adventure. A lot of other games at the time offered the ability to transfer saves from earlier games, but this was more than just unlocking your old favorite weapons. Your choices mattered. Characters lived and died, and whole missions were available based on whether you made good or bad decisions in the earlier game. The fact that this game is the first thing on my list is just a testament to the mass effect it had on my decade.
Who ever heard of Truth, Justice, and the American Way? Me back in 2011 when I was playing Arkham City. That game was my game of the year because it put you back in control of the Dark Knight.
We always thought that there could be no Batman without Gotham, and in the first game we learned that Batman could still be a hero even without the city he's so famous for. Batman Arkham City was the first time that we could say, we were vengeance, we were the knight, we were Batman.
If you know anything about me, you know about my love of kung fu and martial arts movies. And the best game of 2012 to represent that was Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs was a sleeper hit back in 2012 because it combined the two things I love most in this world: noir films and martial arts movies.
Sleeping Dogs was more than just another GTA clone. It allowed you to explore the streets of Hong Kong and take control of an undercover cop bent on revenge. The biggest draw of this game was the fact that it took a fish out of water story and added a martial arts element that was unmatched in any game in this time period. Some would call the combat system a Batman clone, but the ability to switch kung fu styles was unmatched anywhere.
A man may choose, but a slave obeys. That's right, 2013's pick for Game of the Year was none other than BioShock Infinite. And if it all started in Rapture, you damn well know it was all gonna end in Columbia. Or did it?
There's always a lighthouse, there's always a man, and there's always a city. BioShock Infinite was one of my favorite additions to this list. Where BioShock 1 made us question what it was to really play a game, BioShock Infinite really made us question what it is to tell a story. And what a story it told. Betrayal, intrigue, conspiracy, revenge. It had everything, including one of the best endings of the decade. That's why this game was the game of 2013.
You hear that? That's the sound of BioWare. Back again with Dragon Age Inquisition as 2014's Game of the Year.
Dragon Age Inquisition left its mark on the series, not with a whimper, not with a sizzle, but with a bang. It asked all the important questions. It tackled racism, prejudice, and stereotypes. It was a game ahead of its time. The mark that this left on the Dragon Age series is unquestionable, and I'm looking forward to more from the Dragon Age series.
Toss a coin to your Witcher. That's right, 2015's Game of the Year was none other than The Witcher 3. There was honestly not a lot to pick between this year, and I'm really disappointed because I didn't actually play a lot of games that year. Had to give it to The Witcher 3 though, because it was the out-and-out best game by far.
The Witcher 3 was a bright spot in 2015. The great thing about The Witcher 3 is it's not the game that you can finish in 3 days, it's something you gotta spend time with. And after watching the Netflix series, I want to go back and spend a lot more time with this game. Spare a coin for your Witcher and pick up The Witcher 3 today.
4 games in the making. Maybe too longer than it need to be, but who cares? Uncharted 4, A Thief's End was the ending we all deserved.
Uncharted 4 was about legacy. The legacy of PlayStation exclusives that brought excitement every time you heard their names. From Jak and Daxter, to Sly Cooper, and even Ratchet and Clank, Uncharted was a continuation of PlayStation exclusives that were unmatched to this day. It was a cinematic experience, reminiscent of Raiders of the Lost Ark. This was truly a thief's end.
Look, I'm not gonna lie to you, over the last 20 years of my life, I have spent way too much money on Legend of Zelda. I bought that game maybe 3 times. On the Switch, on the Wii U, for my friends. I don't care how many times you hear me say perfection in this video, Breath of the Wild was perfection.
What can be said about Breath of the Wild that hasn't already been said? Breath of the Wild is a realization of a promise made in the very first Legend of Zelda. True exploration, true freedom, true adventure. If I had to end this list right now, I would definitely give Breath of the Wild the game of the decade. Period.
Last year, what are you playing? What are you still playing? What else but Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? You ever heard of Rando Tango?
It's a dance of death where you slide down a slippery slope of Smash fighters and you don't know whether to be scared or excited to who you're going to end up with. It is the single most accessible fighting game this world has ever known. This is the perfect fighting game. And I don't know what else you can say to make sure you add this to your game of the decade list.
Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. Games like Apex Legends, League of Legends, Overwatch, Fortnite, Minecraft, they deserve their own list for Game of the Year.
We've had some real contenders come out, like Apex Legends, Red Dead Redemption 2, Death Stranding, and Control. But my Game of the Year is something you'd never even expect. Devil May Cry 5. Bear with me here. The reason I picked Devil May Cry is not what you might expect. The whole reason we even play video games is to have fun. We want excitement. We want a story. We want to feel like we're on top of the world. The reason Devil May Cry 5 is so great is it always makes you feel like you're winning. It's not exactly that it's an easy game, but it does everything it can to make you feel like you're the most powerful person in the room. And while it's doing it, you feel badass as hell. I can't begin to tell you how long I spent juggling monsters, fighting enemies to the point where I didn't know where my sword began and their guts ended. It was glorious. This game just feels good to play, and that's the only thing I can ask for when I want to pick my game of the year.
Well, this has been Kai Jai with the top 10 games of the decade. My choice, my pick, my rules. That's it for Views from the Kai. I will see you later.